computer. It's official.
All right.
I'm going to wait a second for all of this to pump out live and we'll double check it. And are we live on our Facebook page? Don't see it pop up there yet. Make sure I send it to the right page. Videos. Here we are. There we are. And we will have to say of all of those electronic hoop jumpings. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's my audience. That's
Oh,
my
I like it. Wow. I need one for clapping and one for like a laugh track. That'd be great.
we got you covered.
Oh, wow. Okay. I feel like I'm before a live studio audience.
Welcome, everybody. This is Joni from Paperback Exchange Bookstore, 6412 Ridge Road in wonderful and lovely Port Richey, Florida. And we have the honor today of having secret Tampa Bay author and soon to be released Tampa Bay Scavenger author, Joshua Ginsberg.
Hey, everybody. And thank you so much for having me. And also, you know, I always love doing events with you. And I know that eventually one day soon we'll be able to all sort of do them in person again. And I look forward to that day. But, you know, I thank everybody for bearing with us. You know, we just want to keep you safe. We want to keep ourselves safe. And we will at some point get to sort of an afterwards, but we're just not there yet. So thank you all for joining us virtually today.
We're going to have to reach out and touch each other over the interweb.
Yes.
Until then. Well, cheers to you.
Oh, thank you.
And congratulations
to you
on your very soon release of the long-awaited Tampa Bay Scavenger book. So tell us about your Tampa Bay Scavenger book for somebody that might be watching that doesn't know anything about what's going on and what you have been working so hard on, Joshua, for the last 2 years at least here up in our face that we know about.
It feels that way, but it was actually a very accelerated process. So, you know, right around this time last year, Secret Tampa Bay came out. And that was my first book with Reedy Press. And of course, that was also during sort of the first big COVID wave. And so as the year went on, you know, thankfully, a lot of people purchased and read Secret Tampa Bay. But I was trying to come up with some clever and creative ways to market it. And so I turned about 20 of the things in that book into these rhyming riddles. And I was going to do a little scavenger hunt. Again, there was kind of a surge and that ended up not happening. But I was left with, you know, like a couple dozen riddles. And the publisher got a hold of them and said, hey, these are really fun. Do you think you could do more of them? And I said, well, sure, you know, I could do another 20, 30 of them. And they said, well, what about doing an entire book in, you know, give or take 6-7 months? And I thought, well, I don't really even know if that's possible, but I decided to give it a try. And sure enough, you know, it covers 4 counties. Sadly, Pasco and Hernando are not in there, but Pinellas, Hillsborough, Manatee, and Sarasota County. And so it is 357 rhyming riddles, and people will solve these riddles, most of which are kind of in outdoor spaces. So it's kind of a pandemic safe activity book. And it allows people to kind of play through the history and so people will solve the riddles, go take pictures with them, upload them to the website, which is tampabay.scavenger.com. And then every time they get like 90 clues right, it will unlock one of 4 puzzle pieces. The puzzle pieces fit together. There is a phrase that goes across the top and the bottom. And when that phrase is unscrambled, whoever gives me that phrase will win the first prize. And there are the top 3 prizes are cash prizes, and there may be some others. And that's sort of the idea behind it. So
let me show your Facebook page screen that shows both of your books on there. I'm going to show everybody your Tampa Bay Secret Tampa Bay book.
Yeah.
But September 15th is the release date for Tampa Bay Scavenger. Is that correct?
Last I heard, we're still on track for September 15th, which means that's the day it'll roll off the press. Probably won't be in my hands until maybe the 19th or the 20th.
I know we've got ours pre-ordered. We're anxious to see some of the clues and take some trips around Tampa Bay, you know, like those tank trips. This sounds perfect for us. And, you know, we're a little bit leery of going into big crowds. So this just sounds perfect for something to do that you can connect with the community without having the community connect with you, which is kind of where we're at right now. We're doing a lot of outreach. Virtually and through donations and through other forms. You know, this is, if nothing else, the pandemic has made us even more ingenuitive and creative. It's given us an outlet to allow people that don't want to go out and run around. It gives them somewhere to go. So this is perfect. So please take a look at Josh's Facebook pages here. Please join. We've also got the Tampa Bay Scavenger page as well. It's slowly growing. Oops, messages right there. we were playing Zoom leapfrog. I'm trying to find the right room for this. So what are some of the attractions, or what are some of the ways that people will play the game? I know there's a lot of clues on this Tampa Bay Scavenger site. As far as well, let's just talk about it. So there's places that are secret.
Correct.
You guys are all working on riddles together, like maybe as a family or as a group.
Yeah.
How are the groups maybe going to interact? Are we going to have some online meetings where groups can talk about riddles? Meetings at, say, the Book and Bottle, you know, where people, you know, places like that around Tampa Bay. I'm just thinking of all of the wonderful ways this can allow us to go out and be safe and patronize places that are maybe somewhere along the route or maybe somewhere on the hunt.
Yeah.
Tell us about maybe some of the areas where you think this will benefit some groups that could create their own, you know, little factions around it.
Yeah, and you know, as with Secret Tampa Bay, I really try to incorporate a mix of things. So I mean, if you like bars and restaurants, you know, there are some of those in there. If you like history, there is a lot of that. If you like architecture, there is a lot of that. I would say, you know, probably worth boning up on, you know, your knowledge of historical markers, landmarks, you know, the some of the oldest things that still exist in Tampa Bay, you know, old lighthouses and bridges and churches and buildings. Those are all, you know, I can't promise that they'll be in there, but there's a very good probability that things like that will be in there. And I've also tried to expand some of the area that I covered because, you know, with Secret Tampa Bay, I was trying to cover a whole lot of area. And of course, there were places I missed. So this time around, I got to spend more time in Plant City, more time in Sarasota and Bradenton and Anna Maria Island, and some places that I just hadn't had a chance to really delve into. But it really brought me down to the neighborhood level. I mean, learning, and if you look at a map, you know, you look at some big cities like Philadelphia where I grew up, or Chicago where I lived, or Detroit, or other big cities, LA, a lot of them are laid out very logically like a grid. And then you look at the Tampa Bay area and none of that holds. So you've got neighborhoods, some neighborhoods are like 4 blocks and some are like 30 blocks. And,
And
they're
that road has 5 names, and it goes by the
yeah,
name that used to be on it, not by the name that's on it now.
right.
I remember getting lost in St. Petersburg. Like, how can you do that? It's like the ocean is on one side and the land is on the other. You should be able to find your way around, but the roads don't go all the way through, or they stop, because of all of the history of the area. Now, what are some of the, I know you visited some of the areas, but because, we deal in books here, obviously I'm a little bit partial to that. What are some of the books besides your Tampa Bay Scavenger book that people might be able to read to help them find these historic places? Did you use any
Sure.
references that maybe people can use to help them with the riddles as well as your book along with it?
Yeah, I mean, I always, use a lot of it. That is certainly one. In fact, you know what? I've got my copy right there.
One just came
Um,
across the desk. Like, that's how the bookstore works. It's very serendipitous. Been working
yeah,
with you. First time I heard about Atlas Obscura. I mean, people have used it in like Harry Potter and fantasy stories, but I didn't really realize it was an actual thing in the living world. This
it
shows up.
really is.
That happens so much at the bookstore. I don't know if you've experienced that with your local bookstores or not, but you can look for a book and you don't have it, and then all of a sudden here it is. It shows up.
Yeah, and you folks have some very, I mean, that book, I would consider kind of life-changing, magical, at least for me. There's another book I believe you have
Not
here.
for sale.
There's another one that really changed my life and kind of inadvertently put me on this sort of weird path, maybe like 30 years ago. And it's called Boy's Life, and it's by Robert McCammon.
We
And
have
I
a
think
copy
I
of it.
saw, yeah, I saw that you guys have a
We have actually
hard
have a collector's copy of it. Yeah.
yeah, and
First
that
print.
book was, all these years later, maybe I'll even, read a little something from it that I connected with. But that's a great book. It won't give you any of the specific places, but it will kind of put you in tune with a lot of my thinking. If you're looking for specific places that might be in it, I actually just saw him earlier today. There's a gentleman over at the Clearwater Historical Society, Alex Casano, and he does these fantastic photo books of some of the area. And this guy probably looks familiar.
Oh
But
yeah. Yep.
he these would be really, really good books to maybe familiarize yourself with.
Some of the visuals.
Yeah. And
And
then
and later you can go into the Facebook page and add that name for us. I've been putting some names in too, but yeah, these are all great resources for using. And so you've got a cash prize along with that. That's very interesting.
so yes, so we have the first prize right now will be $150. Second prize will be 100, and third will be 50. And I figure if nobody solves it over the course of weeks or months, I may from time to time kind of take my little treasure chest
Throw us a bone.
piggy bank here, and I may add to it. And in fact, yeah, let's see what's in here. So we've got that in there.
Yes.
Oh, you know. Uh,
Wonderful.
so, yes. But my hope is that yes, some people will certainly play it to win it for the maybe not as much for the cash prize.
Oh, it's all about the bragging rights. Oh yeah, it's all about the bragging.
But it also becomes a way to just sort of another way to engage in local history. And before doing this, I had never really thought about a city or a town or the place you live as being something playable. But this allowed me to look at the place I lived as like a game board, or like the camp, like the setting for some sort of like role-playing campaign. So it gave me an entirely different perspective. It was
I
really a lot of
I
fun.
I lived in South Tampa for many years, and an augmented reality game popped up called Inverness. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but there's a green and a blue team. You pick one and you pick up pins and you put them down and you triangulate and you gather areas for your team, and it's based on who has the most percentage. Um, but I see this, as analog form, right? With your
Sure.
success, with the success of this, maybe you're looking at maybe some kind of an augmented Tampa Bay.
Well,
We
that's
met
very much.
people. We met people where we were at parks where we were playing and we were picking pins up and putting them down and grabbing keys and things like that using our phone and riding around using a lot of gas in our car at the time because we were going from place to place. But it also allowed us to find the places and meet people we had never met because you could see people playing the game in the park. Maybe if you see somebody walking around with your, well, not this one, but your Tampa Bay Scavenger book,
Yeah.
that'll be a great conversation starter. Now, as far as all of the places on the scavenger hunt, you're not required to patronize any place on the hunt. You can
No.
always just take your picture right in front of it.
That's correct.
You don't have to have, you just have to have gas money and a camera that works basically when it comes down to it, which opens it up for everybody and a lot of different people.
Yeah, well, and of course the book, because that has all the questions.
Well, yeah, you got to get the book. Now, you'll be able to get the book here. We have done our pre-orders here.
Awesome.
Where else can we find not only your Secret Tampa Bay book, but also your Tampa Bay Scavenger? You've got Amazon.com, obviously. You've got Google Books. You've got Paperback Exchange Bookstore, Tumblr Books. You've got Portkey, which is a new bookshop down in Safety Harbor.
Very excited.
We're looking forward to visiting there. We haven't been talking to the owners over the internet and sharing stories. So where else can we find your books here in the Tampa Bay area where they could pick it up and start scavenging? Right, 15th through the 19th.
Well, I can't confirm this. I know they carry Secret Tampa Bay, but I would think the Henry B. Plant Museum, the Tampa Bay History Center. More recently, the St. Petersburg History Museum, which I'm super excited about. Some of the different historical societies. And then with Tampa Bay Scavenger, it opens up sort of a whole other realm of sort of places that may carry it. So I'm talking with escape rooms that maybe have some retail. I'm talking to comic book and sort of gaming and RPG sort of stores. And, the Tampa Bay Visitor Center, I know they carried my first one. My hope is that they'll also carry this one. But, it kind of branches out because it's, on one hand, it's an activity book. So anywhere that you have kids or families or people looking for activities, it might make sense, but it is still also connected to being sort of a history or a tour book. It just kind of fuses those two in what was really a sort of a new and novel way for me, at least.
Well, wonderful. Well, we will certainly look forward to that book coming out here. I'm interested in, is it set up to the point where it's almost like geocaching, where it's got the actual, what am I trying to say? The graphic points on it, like that?
I'm going to be a little broader than that. Yeah, I don't think people will have to be that specific. I mean, if
somebody's having trouble finding a spot, they can't go to that and go, okay, it's right here on the map.
Right. So, I mean, if they upload a picture of themselves, ideally with the object or the place, and then they specify sort of what it is, as long as they are within the general parameters. Gotcha. Because I want this to be winnable. I want it to be a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
But I want it to be something that people can do. And I mentioned that I was gonna have some new information. There is a local illustrator who goes by Bump Galetta. And I've loved his illustrations. And I have engaged him to create the 4-piece image that will you'll have to put together for the final winning phrase. So I am so excited. I'm thinking, after a certain number of people have won it, or if we do a reboot after a few years, we can release that image separately as like a poster or something, because it's original artwork by a local illustrator, Bump Galetta, who I am a big fan of.
Wonderful. Well, I've put that information. I am a phonics speller, so I hope I spelled Bumps Galetta's name properly on there. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how it will allow all of these groups that really haven't had a chance to get together face to face because of all of the craziness with Delta variant and pandemic. We will be able to create and juxtapose off of that other gatherings and other meetings. This is just a springboard to all of the things that the Tampa Bay Scavenger can actually allow us to do here in our little burgs.
Yeah, and it also, for me, it becomes kind of a way to pay it forward, because I've been so lucky and so very thankful for all of the support I've received, that I really wanted to make sure that I was able to give back in some way.
Cheers on that one.
Yeah, thank you. And as you know, there's this scavenger hunt I do every year called GISH, or the Greatest International Scavenger Hunt, which is hosted by actor Misha Collins, who some people may know from Supernatural, the show.
That's gish.org, isn't it? It's a nonprofit.
I think it's actually just gish.com now.
Okay, great. I'll put that up here.
But he also
it's part scavenger hunt, part do-gooder, part learning about your history and your areas. I mean, and it was just something that he fell upon. I know I'm friends with Misha Collins just because he is so positive and has so many good things to say, and looks at a bad situation in a different way and can make it like turn yourself around so you're just not so negative. I like that about Misha Collins. And to know now that he is part of the GISH, I've always had that kind of knowing in the background of some of the GISH stuff. It's like geocaching, right?
Yeah, it's sort of, you know what it is? It's like the Olympics for creative weirdos like me. If you like sculpting, if you like making sculptures out of like mashed potatoes, or trying to create the world's largest balloon animals, like, you will have a lot of fun with it. And
I had something like that when I grew up in Ohio. It was on the 4th of July in Columbus. If you're in that area, go do it. It's called the Doodah Parade. You get to parade your stuff down the street that day.
and
very interesting things.
Especially over the past couple of years, GISH for me has really been a way to continue to kind of connect with a lot of my friends and folks I don't get to see very much, and a way to keep my creativity really sort of sharp. And it is kind of connected to a charity called Random Acts. It was sort of like Random Acts of Kindness. And so with
I see they're raising money this year for the refugee children of Afghanistan.
Correct. Children who were wounded as a result of that conflict. And they do several different things throughout the year. Some are just, just kind of like weird, random, nice things. Others
I'm showing the page now. It's July 30th through August 6th, 2022 next year.
Yeah. And so with the release of Tampa Bay Scavenger, any books that I sell directly, either through my website or at events, $1 of every book will go toward Random Acts, which thank you. That was really, like I said, it was important to me, and it's something I think everybody can believe in and get behind. So they're doing really good things.
Well, let's talk about your obscuratorium. Let's talk about it.
Oh,
Now let me see if I can pull up some pictures. Can I? Or am
oh,
I
of course.
like,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
not
good.
exactly sure how this whole scavenger secrets. I'm so bad at keeping secrets.
No, no, the obscuratorium is something for everybody. And it was an idea I had before Gish, that I had several months ago, because in the course of my travels, I've kind of stockpiled a lot of really strange, weird sort of things and trinkets and memorabilia from
Here,
some of the different,
here
yeah,
you
there we
are.
go. So, and you can see, I see Olga the haunted doll, and Edward Scissorhands, who people may not realize this, but the home of the Boggs in that movie is actually in Lutz. So right here in sort of the Tampa Bay area. So everything in there ideally connects somehow to Florida or to Tampa Bay, and also connects some of it with Gish, some of it with Atlas Obscura. And it's kind of a way, I hope, also to replenish some of the wonder that we've lost in the last couple of years. Because I know, look, first and foremost, everybody's health is most important, and kids have lost a year of education, people have lost work and pay. But for me, there's been a lot of museums that have closed. There's been libraries. There's been very special sort of magical, wondrous places that have been inaccessible. So I think it is sort of it falls to each of us to try to replenish that pool of weirdness that maybe it doesn't make life livable in the way that, doctors and educators and booksellers and other people do, but it makes life better. It makes it more interesting. So that is, and I'm so thankful to you for letting us put that in the window there.
Can we have the bragging rights of being obscuratorium number one?
Of course, the one and only, because I don't want to get repetitive. Now I am thinking of doing something related elsewhere, which is the Florida Manseum. And it would be all things related to the Florida man and Florida woman meme. So if I can find a willing window somewhere, we may have the Florida
We
man.
got some bookshop stories for you.
But it's fun, and you know what? And keeping things fun and interesting and weird and just quirky, to me, it's important, and it has value, and it's not just because I'm an oddball, which I am. I think there's kind of a method to the madness, and hopefully sort of a greater good to it.
Well, we certainly enjoy all of the strange looks. We can see people through our window looking at the obscuratorium, trying to figure out what it is. I've even got a small a bunch of little clips of people driving by and looking at it. The history here at our bookshop is a little bit obscure. We we did Drag Queen Story Hour for a while, so we had a lot of looky-loos just coming in and trying to figure out what we're all about. Recently, we just got a 1-star review from somebody, and thank you for that. We love our 1-star reviews. They are always the most interesting. He came in and said, well, there's nothing here but a bunch of romance and obscure fiction. And I was like, he used the word obscure. It's perfect. We love it. We love it. That's what we're going for. We want to have.
It's like the Pee Wee Herman, like the
Tampa
word of
Bay
the day.
and Tampa Bay Scavenger that you're not going to find in every little store around. We want to be obscure. Now we're going to limit it to I don't think we're going to have anything in a mason jar that's been, fermented or not fermented, but, put in formaldehyde. I don't think we're going to go that far.
Now you can.
But there are some places like that. And
right, like Dysfunctional Grace down in Ybor, or what is it? There's a curio shop in Clearwater where, if you're looking for the skeletal remains of animals or prosthetic limbs or specimen jars and Erlenmeyer flasks, you can find them all there. There is a place.
We don't have that, but we'll have a book about it. Okay.
Right.
Now tell us about the haunted doll. We need to know a little bit more, because we've been trying to make her as comfortable as possible. Yeah, I know she's got lots of good vibes coming out of her, but we don't the last thing you want to do is piss off a ghost, right?
It's true, and I will be the first to say, I knew the only time I ever had any issue with Olga was actually when I was trying to bring her over to when I was bringing her out of the house. But I will preface the story by saying that when people win things online, it's maybe like a Peloton bike or a 2-day vacation somewhere. Not me. I win a allegedly haunted doll from Europe. I won it on, I think it was sort of a strange haunted travel site. And, I guessed a few things correctly. And next thing I know, she arrived in the mail with, and I have documentation I need to copy for you because apparently all sorts of different paranormal investigators have reported and recorded having experiences with the doll. So
She likes
Olga,
to lean forward. I keep having to put her back. So I don't know what that is, but we're working on it.
Yeah, so Olga is apparently a legit haunted doll, if you believe in that sort of thing. It should be noted, not the only one in the state of Florida. And part of what makes her relevant to the display is if anyone's ever been to Key West out there, they may have seen Robert the doll. Robert the doll
Yeah, I remember.
was the inspiration behind Chucky.
Really creepy.
Child's Play movies. And yeah, you don't want to look. I'm not.
And we have a signed Gruden book if you need it.
yeah. I'm not superstitious, but I don't want to run afoul of haunted objects. And part of what prompted me to come up with things like the Obscuratorium was when my wife learned that we had won a haunted doll. She looked at me and just said, "Oh hell no, that thing come in here, find a garage, find a place for it." But I think she's happy to be on display there. She seems content, and you haven't
had a lot of attention. I'm serious. I've had more than 5 or 6 people in the last week since it's been up just do like a slow drive by, like what the
That's awesome.
What is Sept trying to do now? Oh my goodness.
I think that's great.
We're trying to keep that part of the word out of Pasco County. Let's keep that down there in Tampa.
Yeah, but she was only ever good luck to me. So my hope is that she will be the same to you in your store.
Well, thank you so much. We enjoy it so much. We enjoy your books. We are certainly anxious and anticipating the Tampa Bay Scavenger and all of the things that will come about with it. September 15th, it'll be out. Specifically, it'll probably be in our area 3 or 4 days later. We want signed copies, so we will wait for those, of course. We have signed copies of Secret Tampa Bay here now. We want to give a shout out to Reedy Press for putting all these great books out for you. And to all of our local authors, especially Josh Ginsberg. Thank you so much. And we look forward to maybe meeting some people out on the scavenger trail. Maybe we'll have to come up with a hat that we can have that everybody has that we can kind of spot people from afar so we're not tramping on their scavenger. So is it booty or is it treasure?
I'm gonna go with booty. You gotta do the I mean this is a pirate town, Gasparilla. I think booty's fine.
Well, get out there and get your Tampa Bay Scavenger book and get you some booty. Thank you so much, Joshua. Thank you everybody else from Paperback Exchange Bookstore. Sleep less, read more, and what do we say? Wash your hands, right?
Indeed. Thank you for everything you do. Be good, be safe, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye.